All right, guys, here's a quick recording on how to create a student budget. First thing you want to start out with is gross income in the top left-hand corner. And then we're going to do deductions, then net income, which is what you would get after you take away the deductions from the gross income. And then we're going to put an extra income. And we're designing this, guys, to help you guys with the student budget assignment. So some of these you might not want to do, but I'll kind of talk about that as we go. So the gross income doesn't have a formula in it, so I'm just going to put 0 in there for now. Deductions, we're going to put a formula in it, and in order to do that, actually, let me make this a little bigger so it's easier to see. We're going to say equals, and then we're going to go negative product, open parenthesis, and we're going to multiply 0.2 to this cell right here, the gross income. Now, 0.2 is another way to write 20%, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to find 20% of the gross income. Don't forget to write the comma before you select the cell, and then close parenthesis to close it out. Now, if you don't have a 0 in the gross income, then you'll just see a negative 0.2 right there. But putting a 0 in there makes it a 0. Now, putting 100 in there kind of tests like, oh, does it work? Will it find 20% of 100? Yes, it did. So let's go back to 0 and go over to net income. To find net income, we're going to say sum of, and we're going to add these two cells right above it. So I'm going to select that cell, comma, select that cell, close parenthesis, then booyah. So let's test it really quick. Let's put a 210 in there. So 20% of 210 is 42. And then those added together, 210 and negative 42 is 168. So it looks like we're working for extra income, 0, 0 for each of those. And you'll see why you need those in the assignment that you guys are about to do. And for total, we're going to sum up. So put equals, sum, open parenthesis. We're going to sum up the 3 cells right above it. We're going to sum up the net income and the extra income. Now, the way I'm doing this is different than before. I'm not selecting each cell. I select the first cell, and then I drag down to the last cell, and then let go. Okay, so don't let go of the click until you finish dragging, and then close parenthesis, booyah, that part's done. Now I want to color these cells just to kind of make them stand out, be different from the rest of the cells on, or the rest of the parts of the spreadsheet. So select gross income. This is one way to do it. Hold the shift button, then press down until you get to the total, and then press right. Whoops, that one messed up. So press down, then press right, and now it has all those cells selected. Go over here to fill color, and in fill color, I'm going to select the gray. Doesn't matter which one, just select one. And there you have it. Now we can test it if you want. Let's see, let's put 210 back in there. There's okay, so we got our deductions. Our taxes roughly would be about $42. So our net income would be $168, and so that's why you see the total down here. Now, if there is an extra income, you could put that in one of these. Like, let's say you're going to college and your parents are also gifting you, or your grandparents are also gifting you $100 for this pay period or paycheck, whatever. That would automatically be added to your net, and this is your total down here. Okay, so that's how that works. So I'm going to put this back to 0 and put this guy back to 0. And then now let's create our categories. Now, the categories that I'm using are based on the assignment that you guys are working on. And they're the categories provided to us by Dave Ramsey, their curriculum here. These are the categories that we're going to use, okay? And so I'm referring to this. Now, within each category, there are items. So we have charity, other, emergency fund, college, car and repairs. I actually would put car in transportation, but you know, it's all preference, and we're just getting used to using budgets, so it doesn't matter. So to start us off, we're gonna have, I think, what's our first category? I already forgot, giving. So we're gonna start off with giving, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm going to select, hold shift again, or you could drag your cursor. Like, you could just select this cell and then drag down to, I don't know, what about 20? Doesn't really matter. And then go over 1. Okay, or you can do the shift and use the arrows, which is the way I like to do it. And then go up here to fill and select a color that you want it to be. Now, I like to kind of stay in this row to have light colors. So I'm going to select that one. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a formula in right next to giving. This is going to sum up all of the costs of each item inside of my category. So sum, I press equals and then sum. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all the cells right underneath it. So I'm going to select and then drag all the way down. And then booyah, that part's done. Close parenthesis, and then you can test it. So I can throw in a couple numbers here and you can see that they get added up. They total up at the top, okay? All right, so I'm gonna delete those because we don't wanna keep those in there for our assignment. And then what you're gonna do is we're gonna create all the other categories. And so to create all the other categories, we're gonna select what we just colored and then copy it. So I'm gonna go to this cell right here and then I'm gonna hold the shift button and I'm gonna go down, select the cells, and then go right ones to select the rest of the cells in that category. Then copy. Now you can copy two different ways. I like using the keystrokes, but I'll show you the other way just in case you're not familiar with keystrokes. If you're using keystrokes, it's Command C or Control C. And that depends on what calculator or what kind of computer you're on. Or you can go up here to Edit, and you go to Copy. And then go over to this cell right here, and then in that cell, hit paste. So I'm gonna press edit and then paste. And then the really neat part about that is we don't have to redo the formula. It just automatically puts it in there. So I'm gonna hit paste, or you can hit Command V or Control V. It also shows you guys the command depending on which computer you're using. Boom. Now, once you paste it, leave it selected. Then go up here to fill and select a different color so you can see the difference in the category. Okay, and then we're going to do this, I think, 5 more times. So let me go ahead and paste. Now, what's really cool is that the formula automatically pastes for you. So remember, after you paste, let's change the color. Go to the next one, paste. That was the yellow, so now we're bright yellow, paste. There's the green, paste. I think this one's blue. And then the last one, okay, you can't see it, but paste, it's right after the blue, so I think it's a dark blue. Okay, cool. So I just did enough to for each of these categories. So it goes giving, saving, food, clothing. So giving, saving, food, tab, clothing, tab. After clothing, let's see, we got transportation. Then after transportation, personal, and then recreation. So personal and recreation. All right, there you have it. So we have all the categories that we have in the student budget recommendation. Okay, now I'm going to, actually I'll do some aesthetic stuff in a little bit. Now we have 2 more formulas that we gotta put in here. First, we're gonna do expenses. You can put total expenses here, whatever you want, or just expenses. And then we're also gonna have an extra amount. So for expenses, what we're gonna do is we're going to total all of the totals for each category. Okay, so press equals and then sum. Oh, you know what though? We want this to be a negative sum, right? Because these are expenses. So negative sum, open parenthesis, select the cell, comma, select the cell, comma, select the cell, comma. And you're going to keep doing this until you get to the end. We're going to keep selecting all of the totals. My last one is the recreation. And then the last one, after the last one, I'm going to close parenthesis. And you could actually type all these in if you're doing everything exactly the way I'm doing it. But I kind of like selecting the cells because then you don't mess anything up. I mean, you might have done something slightly different. And so your row and column, or your column and your row might be different than mine. So I'm going to press enter. There we go. And then our last one is the extra. So what we're going to do with the extra is we're going to add the total amount of money that we have incoming with the negative number from expenses. And so equals sum, and then I'm going to select this cell, comma, and then select this one, and then close parenthesis. Now, let's highlight these and give it a fill color of gray. That's all preference. You don't have to do it exactly the way I'm doing it. Actually, I don't want it to be that light. Let's make it that one. I want it to match the top one. Oh, that kind of matches. Okay, so now let me do a quick test so you guys can see. For gross income, let's put in the 210 again. And I'll put in, I don't know, 20 bucks here. It doesn't matter. And so our total amount is 188. My extra income is right there. My net income is right there. And then for giving, let's put $10 right here. Let's just say that's for your church, or you could put a charity. And then for saving, let's go emergency fund. Let's say you're gonna save $50 a month for emergencies. Transportation, gas. You need some gas money. Let's put 50 bucks in there. And then for recreation, let's put movies. And then let's see how much is movies. Let's put 30 bucks. That should be good. Notice that whenever you put an amount here, it totals at the top. You know what I should also save for? I should also save for oil change, because oil changes happen about twice a year roughly. Let's just put away $10 for every paycheck there. Notice that the total goes up here. So 50 and 10 is 60. And then over here, the total expenses keeps changing every time you add something over here. I'm going to say going out. Let's say you want to have $25 for going out money. Notice the extra changed and my expenses changed. Now I have 13 bucks left. And so you got to put it somewhere. You got to put a name to every dollar. I want that to be zero. Extra needs to be zero. So let's go ahead. I really like shoes. And so I'm going to save up for shoes, and I'm going to put the rest of my $13 there. And so once you get this down to zero, then you're doing it right. Now, what if you have a negative number? Let's say you're also saving for your future car. So maybe you're putting away, you want to put away $30 a month for that, which is not enough, but let's just say it. Notice that now I am over, okay? I should not have a negative extra. It should be zero. If you have a negative, then you're going to have to take away money from something else. So maybe I don't want to save for shoes anymore. So I'll put a zero there, or I can delete it. Now I got to find $17 somewhere else. So maybe instead of paying $25 for going out, let's just do, let's subtract, $5. Now we have $3. Okay, so $8. And now we're back to zero. Oh, going out. I'm going to have to really sacrifice my going out if I want to save for my future car. So anyways, that's how the budget works. That's how the spreadsheet works. It's kind of cool. It's handy. It does all the calculations for you. I'm going to do a couple more things just to make my budget look a little cleaner. I don't like how I have to scroll over to see the rest of my categories. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select a bunch of columns and resize them. So when you select multiple columns, you have to start holding Command or Control. So I selected the B column, and now I'm holding Control so that I can select multiple columns. And what I'm doing is I'm selecting all the columns with the numbers. Okay, let me move this over a little bit, and then I select my last column, and then drop this, press this arrow, okay, so you can see your options, and you have to press the arrow of the last column that you selected, and then select resize. Okay, now I think 40 is what I've done before, and it comes out pretty nice. So I'm going to say 40, and then you can see all those columns are now the same size, and they shortened up a little bit, which is nice. Cool. And I actually want my words to be a little bit bigger. So these columns are going to make a little bit bigger. So I'm going to do it one more time in front of you guys. And select the last down arrow, resize the columns. Let's just make it go up to 125. Yeah, just make them a little bigger. Cool. I like that. I like the way that looks. It looks a little bit better. One more thing, and then I'll show you guys how to do the tabs. You select all the cells by selecting this box right here, okay? And then I'm going to get rid of all the grid lines because I think it looks sharper that way. This is all preference, guys. You don't have to do it. So I'm going to select all borders, and then I'm going to say I want those borders to be white, and then booyah, all all those grid lines are gone. Now there's still white lines inside of each of these categories, which I think is fine, but if that kind of bugs you, if you wanted to, you could select that category, go into borders and say you just want the inside borders and you want to make those the same color as the box. And so now all the grid lines are gone in there, but I kind of like the white grid lines inside of the columns. One more thing, let's select this whole row 8. I want these numbers to stand out. I want them to be a little different, so I'm going to make them bold, and I'm going to make them slightly bigger. Now, again, all preference. Okay, so let me delete everything, and then I want to show you guys how you can duplicate your budget without having to redo everything. Okay, so everything's blank. All our formulas are still there though. Down here at the bottom of the page, you can see where it says sheet. If you select the arrow, you can select duplicate. Okay, so I'm going to duplicate, and I'm going to do 3 tabs, and let me show you why. I'm going to do, the assignment is to make 3 budgets. If we go up here, you guys can see there's a budget for Marcus, there's a budget for Jenna, and then you have to make one for yourself, so a personal budget. Okay, so I'm going to make this first one to say Marcus, so I'm going to hit rename, select all, Marcus, enter, and then Jenna, so select the arrow, rename, and let's put Jenna in here. And then the last one, that's going to be a personal one. You could put your name or you can just write personal, it doesn't matter. And booyah. Now you can do a budget for each of those students that you're doing. Now for the personal one, if you guys don't have a job, then what you need to do is you need to make a budget for yourself. Like think about the month and think about how much money you need for this or that, what you want to save, and then go to your parents and see if they want to front you all that money instead of giving you the money as the month goes on. And this should be a good example of how you can be responsible with money, and hopefully your parents think it's a good idea and they work with you on that. Now, if you are working, I would change this budget for yourself because when you guys get a paycheck, whatever money amount is on that paycheck, that is your net, okay? Because your employer will automatically do the deductions. And so you don't actually need this column or this column. And so I selected both those columns using command or control. You just have to hold control or command and select them. And I'm going to go up here and I'm going to say delete those columns, delete selected rows. Oops, I said columns, those are rows. And then I'm going to delete the net income in there. Okay, so the formula that we had for net income doesn't need to be there anymore. It just needs to be an amount. And so then you would just put your amount in here. Let's say it was $3.41 and 23 cents. Booyah. The 23 cents is not in there, so I'm going to make this column just a little bit longer or bigger, wider. And then there you have it. So now you have your total, and now you can make your budget. It looks like we have $341.23 that we need to budget, but do that, and make sure you practice your budgeting. You guys need to budget for every paycheck that you get, okay? And just how I made tabs right here for the different names, you could actually make tabs for different months. If you get paid twice a month, you could do January A, January B, or if you get paid monthly, you can say January, make a budget for that month, and then make another tab for February, and then make a budget for that month, so on and so forth. Anyways, guys, I hope this video is easy and easy to understand and helpful.